Welcome to the Emerald Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Chrissy Doyle, and on this podcast I speak to different Irish athletes about their highs, their lows, biggest battles, biggest successes, and why they fell in love with their sport.
In this episode I chat to Irish swimmer Evan Bailey. We discuss swimming in Ireland and Texas with Michael Phelps, old coach, a typical day, training, nutrition, European Championships and the Olympics dream, and so much more. Here we go, Evan Bailey.
Evan, how are you? You're very welcome to the podcast.
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's great to have another swimmer on the podcast. You're back home at the moment, Evan?
I am, yeah. Been back home for 2 to 3 months, and I'm back home now for the summer and training towards Europeans. So looking forward to that. It'll be a good competition now, and always have fun racing with the tricolour on. So we have good crack with the lads as well.
Unreal. And where are the Europeans taking place, Evan?
They're in Paris. So I've never raced in Paris before. Some of the lads were racing there a couple of months back, but I was in America during that. So they have a bit of a head start on that being out there, but I'm looking forward to getting to experience it myself and hopefully put in some good racing out there.
Yeah, lovely. And just with your time at home, Evan, are you getting some time for having a bit of a holiday, or are you totally in training mode, building up for the Europeans? Or
I haven't got much of a holiday now since I've come back. Most of the holiday I get is I was in Rome there 3 weeks ago, but that was for racing. I didn't really see much other than the hotel and the pool, so as much of a holiday as that is, like getting out of the country at least. But
yeah. No, and it's so unfortunate when I hear that. Obviously, it's brilliant for you competing, but I just automatically think, oh, geez, you went to Rome and you competed, and then you went out to the Colosseum, you got to go to the Trevi Fountain and all these different things. But as you say, it's probably not the reality for you when you're travelling.
Yeah, no, I tried to catch a glimpse of the Colosseum on the bus. I was looking at it on the maps, but we weren't anywhere near it, unfortunately, so didn't really get to see it while we were out there. Yeah,
no, that's unfortunate. But look, it's obviously you're competing at it, something amazing, so it's great, but it is unfortunate you don't get to see some of the things around you. And is that always the same, when you're traveling, Evan? It literally is an in and out job. You go compete, you're focused on that, then you're back on a plane.
A lot of the time it is, yeah. Sometimes when we're at maybe a bigger competition, it's a bit easier because you could have, maybe you get there a week before the competition starts, so maybe in the first few days you get there you can go and do a little bit of sightseeing, but nothing too big. Like, you can't be going on any big long walks or big hikes or anything, just trying to save your energy. So you might have a day or two during the competition as well where you're not racing, but it's probably not ideal to go sightseeing on those days either.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You can do a bit of sightseeing, but
absolutely. And I was just going to say, because I've been to Rome before, and Rome is, you could put in so many steps in Rome without even realising it, because you're just walking on cobblestone and it's just like there's no taxi, there's no getting away from it. So definitely for Rome, it was probably a good thing for you as well, I'd say.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy place. I think like the swim down pool that we were in, it wasn't the race one, it was just another one up a 5-minute walk away from it where we'd like warm up and do our swim downs. The whole thing was made of marble. I'd never seen a fully marble pool before. It was crazy. So just like,
oh wow,
that was probably my highlight of Rome, getting to see that.
Yeah. Well, at least it was something, in fairness, it was something, but yeah. And Evan, I wanted to ask you, when you're just, as you're building up for the European Championships, just what's a typical day like for yourself now with training and all that? Because you just hear, I've always kind of heard with swimmers, it's so intense maybe in terms of eating and in terms of maybe, how much you practice as well throughout each day. What would a typical day, I suppose, look for you?
My day isn't too interesting now, to be honest. Sometimes it feels like it's unproductive, but it actually is quite productive in a sense. I wake up at around 6 and then have breakfast before I go to the pool. We start our pre-pool at 6:30, and then we're in the water at 7, so we'll swim from 7 to 9. And then, that's on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Tuesday and Thursday we'll do gym in the morning instead of swim. And then I'll just come back, have another breakfast, and try to get a nap for an hour or two. Then I'll wake up from that nap and make lunch, and I'll eat lunch, and then I'll maybe play Xbox for an hour, and then go back to and back in the pool then from 3 to 5, and then come out of the pool and have dinner. And it's probably about 6 or 7 o'clock then in the evening, so maybe, I don't know, watch a movie or play Xbox again for an hour and then go to sleep. that's pretty much all I get up to every day. But
Yeah, do you know what? For a lot of people that are definitely working, getting a couple of hours to play the Xbox or watch a movie, it's not a bad deal either. It'd be lovely, especially during the day.
it feels like I'm doing nothing during the day when I'm just like eating, sleeping, waking up and training, but it actually is kind of productive then when I step outside from it and look at it from a kind of outside point of view. But
Yeah, just even when you say the swimming from 7 to 9, because obviously I just know from other sports, like let's say GA for myself, you would do a drill and then there's like a minute break. Like, are you literally doing lengths of the pool? Do you take much breaks in between that, or is it literally just flat out, or, what way do you kind of work it?
yeah, so we usually do between, depending on the time of season, we do between 5 and 7K, I'd say usually. Sometimes it goes up to about 7.5, but during that it'd be like split up into a set. So you'd have the warm up, which might be like 2 to 3 kilometers of it, and then there'd be a bit of rest between that for the main set, and then a bit of rest between that for the swim down, which is at the end of the set. But some days when it's just like an easier set, we do get a bit sometimes bored of the swimming and have a few conversations and a few wood and stuff in the pool, just having the crack with the lads. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things of the sport, though. To be honest, I don't really like getting in and just go 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 for 2 hours straight. I'd rather take 2.5 hours to do it instead of 2 hours and have a laugh with the lads. And we're still getting the good quality of session in, but you're just enjoying it more. I feel like you have a bit more longevity when you're enjoying it like that and having the crack. So that's my way of preferring it. It wouldn't be much conversation now. You kind of have like a 20-second conversation. You have to go 1 second there and push off, and then you'd have to swim 100, and then you come back around and resume the conversation. But it's good fun, I'd say.
Yeah, no, but you definitely need that, because if you're on your own all the time, Evan, I'd say it's just, even mentally from that point of view, it would be very hard just to keep training. Like those little chats, definitely make a difference for you. Just like some social contact. I'd say you're nearly swimming to the other side. I may finish this conversation as quick as you can, just to get back to what you were talking about almost. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. There was it on Saturday. We took out the phone out onto the block of the pool and put on the rugby match there during the session. So got a bit of entertainment out of that as well. We were kind of doing a bit of kick on the board and holding out the phone in front of us. I think like, we do absolutely nothing there in the session. We do train as well.
No, good. But like all those things, like you have to kind of make it enjoyable for yourself as well, because like I know you're obviously experienced professional now, but I know for myself, 2 lengths of the pool and I'm absolutely out on my feet, after doing it. So I would take the energy out of you. So you definitely need your chat or recovery time, I'd say, in between as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it makes it so much more enjoyable. And just, yeah, you get a bit of recovery as well. Probably stop a few injuries from getting a few seconds of chat as well. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, 100%. And another thing I wanted to ask you, Evan, because I suppose this blew up when Michael Phelps was competing in the Olympics, and he went on about his 10,000 calories a day. Like, would you be having, like, is it just the standard for a swimmer that you expend so much energy that, the amount of food you eat and your calorie consumption is quite high?
Yeah, I've never actually tracked my calories for a day, I don't think. I might have done it once or twice, but I can't really remember what my calorie count was at the end of the day. But if I was to guess, I'd say it'd be 6,000, maybe 6.5, if even that much, I'm not sure. But the quality, or that kind of training that Michael Phelps was doing, I did the kind of training he was doing when I was out in Texas. I was under his coach, and you need to be eating a lot more to be doing that kind of intensity, because it's just threshold, 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 threshold. So if you don't fuel with carbs before and after every single session, you're not going to make it through the set or even the week. So I feel like the sessions we do here in Limerick are a lot less intense, but we do maybe 3 hard sessions a week, which I prefer. I think it is as beneficial as them doing 8 hard sessions a week. So over there, he kind of needs to be eating all those calories to try and survive throughout the week, I think.
Unbelievable. And was that the biggest difference for you when you went to Texas, Evan? Just the intensity of the sessions? And was there anything you really learned from Michael Phelps as coach in terms of that helped you improve, let's say?
I think so, yeah. I think it was a very positive experience for me to go over there and just see how all the best swimmers in the world train and their attitude towards training and everything outside of that as well. Just getting to see how it operates and just like it's crazy the stuff they do every week. So being able to do that for a couple of months, kind of almost in the sense of it being a training camp, and then being able to bring that back here to Limerick and have the benefits of that, and then also get the benefits from training here as well. I think it was hugely beneficial just for me personally as well, as a development point of view, because I think before I went out there I was kind of a bit more immature, and then getting to move out to the other side of the world with like not really knowing a huge amount of people out there is kind of the best way to develop as a person and mature, because you can't really call your parents for advice on anything over there because they don't really know what's going on in America either. They don't know how the system runs over there and stuff. So it's definitely a very good just like maturing standpoint, because you're all on your own pretty much, just learn how to figure it out all by yourself. So I think it's a very positive experience.
Excellent, yeah. And was it kind of like were you training with a group of swimmers then all together with that coach, or was it more individualized, Evan, or what way did it work that way?
Yeah, so I was in the middle distance group out there. They had it split up between 3 different groups. It was the kind of sprint, middle distance, and distance. But in a lot of programs, the sprint group would kind of be a little bit easier. But over there, it was just as hard, maybe a couple 100 meters off. But the stuff they were doing was crazy. The sessions were the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But it was a good challenge. Good to be able to come back from it and then think, oh, I'm probably never going to do anything as hard as the sessions I've done out there. So it's a bit of relief that I know I'll probably never do anything as hard here, but like I said, the train here is just as beneficial, and I feel like it's a lot more specific to me in Limerick.
Yeah, and just even was it when you say intensity, right, and so much harder, was it just like you'd less recovery time, let's say, or was it just there was more volume throughout the day almost?
Yeah, it was pretty much both, yeah. Like I said, just about having the crack between swimming, like during the session, like having chats and stuff like that. In Texas, it was kind of go, like do 7K, 8K straight, just loads of really fast efforts, threshold, and then even the warm-ups and stuff would be hard, and you'd do a hard warm-up and then have to go straight into a hard main set. And I think the reason for that sometimes is kind of just like to build up mental strength. And especially as you get closer towards the end of the week, we do really hard swims at the end of the week, and sometimes I'd be coming to the pool like, oh, like why am I doing this? But then like the way Bob explained it was, it's as you get to the end of a 5-day competition or so, on the last day you're going to be thinking that as well, and you're going to get in and not want to swim maybe that morning. So to be able to get in and train hard at the end of every week, kind of a good mental boost for you to know that you have it in, like you're capable of doing it. So there's a benefit to everything that they do out there, but I'm glad that I never have to do those sessions again.
Yeah, but you know, in fairness as well, Evan, I'd say now when you're going into a competition or when it's competition day, you're definitely thinking, I have been through such tough sessions here that I've done that nothing's going to faze me here. Like I'm going to be in complete confidence, you know, going into that race. Would you feel that now yourself?
100%, yeah. One of the things that I like to tell myself before my race is that no matter what, like a race I'm doing or what event, it's never going to hurt as bad as any of the training sessions I've done, even in Limerick or in Texas. Like I'm never going to feel as much pain as I did during training sessions, so it can't be that bad at the race.
And even like 7-8 kilometers, as you say, swimming, like in terms of swimming that much, like that's so long to swim. Whatever about running it, you know, but to swim it, it's just like the energy that would take out of you is just so much, isn't it?
Yeah, I do get fairly tired now during the day. Have to hit the nap after training now, so
the nap is key.
Sorry?
The nap is key.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much. If I don't have my nap, I'm in a pretty bad mood for the rest of the day.
And you compete in, Evan, would you mainly compete then in the 100, 200 meters, or would it be more than that for yourself?
Yeah, so at the minute I'd say the 200 free is my best event at the minute. I kind of want to try and move on the 100 free at the same point, because I don't really want to just have that one event. I kind of want to expand it and have more that I can be at the same level as the 200. I used to swim a lot of butterfly when I was younger, kind of a teenager. And then as I kind of started training with Limerick, they told me that 200 free is probably the best event for me. So I kind of started focusing on that a bit more, and it went well for me. So I'll keep on focusing on that for a while, but I do want to kind of try and move the 100 free and the 100 fly to the same level as I can do the 200 free.
Yeah, unreal. And am I right in saying as well, Evan, that you have the record for the 200-meter free in Ireland? Is that right?
Yeah, I have the record short course, and then I matched it to the exact millisecond long course. So
Unbelievable. Yeah.
we try and push it on a bit more now in the summer, but we'll see.
Unbelievable. And like, was that a great feeling, like, obviously to achieve that? Or, at the time, obviously it was great because not knowing that you're in the history books, but it's a real sign that you're just, performing and doing really well too,
Yeah, I mean, it was a great feeling. It didn't really feel like I broke it when I did it, when I matched the time, because, well, I didn't break it, I got the exact same time. But then when I did a short course in December, it didn't really feel that good because I came out of the race and I saw that I was 13th or something into the semi-final, and I was like, oh, that's a bit closer than I wanted. So I didn't really think a whole lot about the fact that I broke the record, because I know during the summer after I broke the record in the heats, or after I matched it in the heats, I kind of thought a bit too much about that, and then going into the semi-finals I wasn't as focused because I thought, oh, I did the job done in the morning. So then for December I kind of changed the way I thought about it, and I didn't get too focused on the fact that I'd just broken it and that I wanted to make it into the final for the next day. So I kind of just got it out of my head and didn't really go on my phone a huge amount, didn't really reply to anyone's texts or go on Instagram or anything, just to refocus for the semi-final that night. It turns out it worked in the end, so I think that's what I'll keep on doing in the future.
Yeah, unreal. And does the 200 meters, Evan, is that like, do you feel like that's over in a flash? Is that like so quick, that race, do you feel?
It depends. Sometimes if it's like an in-season race where you're not rested and not shaved down or anything, that race feels like it goes on for 5 minutes with the amount of pain that's in the like second 100 meters. But then for some of my best races, I don't remember them at all, really. I kind of go autopilot almost for the first 150 meters and then think, oh, I'm in a pretty good spot here. Like I kind of don't even realize that I'm in a good spot until 150 meters because I'm just switched off on it. But yeah, I don't really remember much of my best races, to be honest.
Yeah, and how do you, as you said, that I've always been very interested about that. How much do you know during the race about whether you're in front or whereabouts you are? Like, can you actually, is there time kind of to focus or realise or take that in, or are you just going as hard as you can?
Yeah, sometimes I do think about it, and I think I overthink it when I can see people around me and when I look at them. Because I'm kind of more thinking, oh, try to get ahead of them or try to stay ahead of them, or I'm like, oh, geez, there's someone beside me there. Don't want them to beat me. So I think if I kind of stay focused on the floor of the pool, say, and just think about what I'm doing, and like I said, go on autopilot and don't even think, or don't even realize that I'm swimming the race until about 150 meters, that works best for me because I'm not thinking, I'm just swimming how I do in training, and that seems to work best for me. So I just don't need to overthink about what everyone else is doing in the pool, just focus on my own swimming.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it would feel that you could waste a second or two even thinking about it. When you're just, your mind goes onto something else, you probably don't even realise it, but you could easily lose a second, two or three just on that. And, obviously that could be the difference at the end without even knowing at the time.
Yeah, 100%. Like, for example, Europeans in December, I was in the outside lanes. I think I was either lane 1 or lane 8 at the very edge. And I think that kind of worked as a benefit for me, because if I was in the middle, I think I would have panicked more seeing myself that I was out in front. I would have looked around and be like, oh, geez, I'm like quite far ahead of everyone here. I'm doing well. Whereas I didn't really realise for ages that I was doing well until like the last couple of meters when I was out in the outside lane.
Unreal. And there's no way you can say to the judges or whoever said, no, can I be in the outside lane here? I don't want to be in the middle. That won't work, will it?
Well, you can plan, but it's a bit risky. So it's like the slowest qualifiers into the final go on the outside lanes. So like 7th and 8th qualifiers for the final will go in the outside lanes. So I mean, if you want, you can try and be in the outside lanes, but it's very risky that you might miss the final if you try and do that.
Yeah, no. I can imagine even like giving an interview afterwards or trying to explain that to someone. Yeah, I took it easy there just so I could get in the outside lane for the competition.
Some people try it, but it is very risky.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's probably too big of a risk maybe to do that as well. Uh, but I wanted to ask you, so I've always wondered this because it's so big now in other sports, and I think it's taken up a huge conversation. Is breathing techniques within sports as well? Like, would you have it in your head that you're going to, like, let's say, do two or three strokes and then you breathe every time, or how does the breathing work for you in swimming? Is it an important thing, or is it kind of, do you feel like it's maybe over discussed?
Um, I think, yeah, it's discussed quite a lot, but I wouldn't say it's over discussed. Um, I breathe every two strokes, so I'm only breathing to my right side when I race, or even during training all the time. I'll do sometimes on my left in training just to get a bit of a balance. But when I was an age group swimmer, a lot of coaches used to say that they didn't agree with breathing every two and they'd want you to breathe every three or every four because it was more of a balanced stroke. But yeah, no, it's just based on personal preference and whatever event you're doing. Sometimes the 50-meter freestylers, they don't breathe at all, or some of the 100-meter swimmers will breathe every four. So it kind of depends on personal preference and what event you're doing.
Did you say, Evan? Did you say there that some people don't breathe at all during the race? Is that right?
That's during the 50 free. Yeah,
Oh, the 50 free. Okay.
100 free now. I think you probably might that now.
I'll tell you what, though, it's still probably quite a distance to go without taking a breath. I'd say you'd really come up for air after that when you're done, all the same.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it from the outside, you think, oh, you're only holding your breath for 20 something seconds, but you're also like kicking and pulling at max effort while you're doing that, so you're also expending quite a lot of oxygen and energy, which makes it quite a lot harder to do. But if you don't think about it, it makes it easier to do it.
Yeah, no, geez, I wouldn't like to try that myself. I could just see myself coming up out of water and having this big gasp for breath, just like, nearly almost, I survived almost.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember the first time I did it, I kept on thinking to myself before, all right, I'm not going to breathe for this 50. And then by the time I got to 40 meters, I was dying trying to hold my breath. And then the next time I did it, I didn't even think about holding my breath or anything. And I got to 40 meters and realized that I hadn't even taken a breath yet, and it felt a lot easier. So it's pretty kind
Yeah.
of mostly in your head at that point. But
I suppose as well, like you were saying, that if that's the way you practice and the way you do it, again, you get to a competition or whatever, you're going to be used to it by then, you know what I mean, as well, which is obviously makes it easy.
yeah, 100%. We do a lot of breath holding work and training and stuff, so you get a lot of confidence from that as well. It's kind of a fun thing to do because it's not really intense, or it's not taking a huge toll on your body. It's kind of just getting to do fun kind of challenges to test your body, but it's not taking a huge toll on you. So it's a fun thing to do in training.
Yeah, 100%. And Evan, I wanted to ask you, just to take it back a little bit. How did you get started with swimming? Did you just go to a local pool? Were you going to the sea and just swimming and just fell in love with it, or how did it all start for you?
Yeah, so I probably would have never seen myself as being a swimmer when I was probably between the ages, I don't know, 5 and 10. I know that's quite young, but I was kind of always more as a fan of soccer and rugby, those kind of sports. I preferred them a lot more when I was younger to swimming. I used to hated swimming lessons. I just try to lock myself in the car and I wouldn't put my head under the water for years. And
What
then
a turnaround.
I finished swimming lessons then, passed my deep end test or whatever, and my older sister was in the club, so I was like, I'll go on, sure, yeah, I'll try it. And then the club kind of just worked a bit better for me, and my parents, or well, no, my dad never saw him. He can't swim at all. My mom and all her brothers and sisters were in the swimming club as well. Some of them got to quite high standards. One of my uncles, Zaro or Adrian, went to the Olympics in '96, and then Hugh and Neve both represented Ireland internationally as well. So that's kind of where it came from in the family. That's why my mom got us into it when we were younger. But that's pretty much the story.
Unbelievable, yeah. No, Jesus. Well, do you know what? And it's such a typical Irish thing, I feel, to do as well. When you've relations who have got into a sport really well, there's nearly an assumption too, Asher Evan is going to love swimming. He must be really good at it. There's always that kind of, thought process with it too, I feel.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes it a lot easier as well, the way that I always have them there, that if I'm ever having an issue with something in the sport, I can always just go to them and ask, because they've been through the whole system and they've experienced everything there is almost in the sport. So if there's ever an issue or I ever have a question about anything to do with swimming, they're always there for me to ask them. So it is really handy.
Incredible, yeah. And was there a point where you were swimming, Evan, or you did an event where you thought this is actually going really well, and I'm actually going to be able to make some of this, or I'm going to be able to really compete at a high level? Was there kind of any moment that kind of shines a light on that for you?
I haven't really had one standout experience, to be honest. I don't think. It's kind of I wasn't really the greatest swimmer before COVID. Then I grew during COVID and came back after, and I kind of dropped a lot of time. I think that's kind of when I originally thought, oh, yeah, maybe I'm pretty good at this, or maybe I could have a future in this. So that was kind of the only really time. Because I'd say before COVID I was about 5'5", and then I came out at 6'2" after. So a bit of a benefit for me, and it helped me drop a bit of time. So that was pretty, yeah, the time that I realised maybe I could be decent at this.
Geez, as a 5'8" man, Evan, I'd love you to tell me what the secret is to just jump up to that height. That'd be fantastic. I'd love that myself. That's what a jump that is.
Yeah, no, it's handy now. It's a nice little boost, but
yeah, no, unreal. And is there, if you're swimming then, is it simply just swimming then that you would have done or do now, Evan? Or is there any kind of strength conditioning work or anything like that you do for yourself? Or is it literally swim and, practice?
Yeah, so we do gym 3 times a week. Like I was saying, that if we swim in the morning, we swim Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning, we're also in the gym. So we do maybe, depending on the time of the season, again, be like between 1 and 2 hours in the gym. Kind of more swimming specific lifts as opposed to bodybuilding lifts in a sense. So more power work and explosive, with also just a bit of strength work. So that is probably one of the most fun parts of training, getting to lift heavy weights with the lads, shout at each other, try to get them to max bench or something. But
the slap on the chest and whatever like that, yeah, just try and get them going.
yeah, during the testing it does get fairly heated up there now, but it's all good crack.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to have that banter, because it just kind of creates a good atmosphere too, and a bit of celebration if somebody gets their personal best or something like that too. And if someone doesn't, there could be a bit of slagging or something too. So that's all. It's all good crack. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. No, the lads here are right crack. Get on with them really well. They're all really easy to get on with, and just there's a great bunch of lads here that, I don't know, we're all very similar. We all get along very well, so it makes it so much easier in training just to get along with it and get through with the tougher days and the harder sessions.
Yeah, no, unreal. And just when I was talking to you there just about, I suppose, getting into swimming and growing up, was there anybody, when you got into it then, was there any swimmer, I suppose, was like a role model for you would have looked at and said, I'd like to become like him? Or was there any kind of, favourite sports person even that you had, Evan?
I'm trying to think. I wouldn't have anyone in particular in my head. I'd watch a lot of, and I suppose look up a bit to the likes of Alan Peaty and Michael Phelps. And then as I was growing up, Caleb Dressel was there as well. They're all swimmers. They were kind of dominating all their events at certain points in their careers. So I'd say they were the ones that I was looking up to. But when I was younger, it was probably soccer players more so that I was looking up to. They were pretty my role models, like, I don't know, Ronaldo. That was a bit more of a Ronaldo fan when I was younger, but kind of stopped for now until the World Cup came out. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say I had any huge role models throughout my career, but
yeah. But do you know what, as well, I would say that about swimming, and I actually said this to me and Ella Walsh spoke about it on a previous episode as well. Like, growing up, you would have seen obviously Ronaldo playing soccer on TV, would have been on RT2, but maybe bar the Olympics, how much swimming is being shown on TV to, gather those role models too. You know what I mean? In fairness, if you can't see it, it's very difficult to kind of build up that connection and watch and see how great it is too.
Yeah, it is annoying the way that you can only really see Well, like there's only a big competition, say every 4 years, being the Olympics, and then there's a World Championships every 2 years. Same with Europeans. There's the European Championships every 2 years, and the fact that it's on RTE now in the summer is going to be great because it's going to get some coverage for Irish people to maybe hopefully get a bit more into swimming. But I do think there needs to be something done in regards to the sport about how often there's a big championship, as in like a Worlds or an Olympics, because it can't just be every 2 years or every 4 years that there's a big competition on for people to spectate. Like it needs to be a lot more regular than that and a lot more often, because we do need more spectators. Like I think it is the most spectated sport in the Olympics, and that's only every 4 years. So surely if we make it a bit more common and get a bit more publicity on it, there'll be a lot more people that will start getting into it, hopefully. And they just need to make an exciting kind of schedule around it to make it a lot more viewer friendly. Because sometimes the way that Irish competitions are held, a lot of the parents don't show up to the heats to watch because it's a really tough sport to organise a schedule for it to be really entertaining to watch all the time for 2 hours straight. So I know the ISL kind of looked into that. It was a international swimming league, and they looked into making an interesting schedule and making it more viewer friendly and entertaining, and they did a good job at that, but it kind of closed down maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So something needs to be done pretty much to make it more viewer friendly.
100%. And even Evan, for yourself, like the fact that you have to wait for like 2 years for a big championship as well, with all that training and stuff as well, like that's unfair in itself. Is there anything that's kind of, so what are the regular, is there any regular competitions each year? Like would there be like even an Irish championships or, something like that each year? Or is it like the big ones or the kind of the main ones?
Yeah, so we have the Irish Open in April. I think it's April every year, sometimes May if it's an Olympic year. And that is to qualify for an Olympic Games or a World Championships or a European Championships. So there's either a European Championships or a World Championships every year because they alternate every 2 years. And that's like the one competition that everyone in Ireland has to go to qualify for the championships. So that's always a fun one to get back and race for and see if you can qualify for the events. It's kind of not as important of an event when you're younger. It's kind of just good to get there for experience, but as you get older, you're kind of trying to qualify for internationals and it gets a bit more important.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel I don't know, maybe I'm wrong now, but I feel that could be a bit unfair as well because let's say you just have an off day, that's your one competition. I think it'd be nearly great to have 2 or 3 events. And then if someone is consistent with their performances, they're obviously, the best one placed to maybe go rather than just, one big day. And as you say, you could get it televised for all three. You could get, more people in to watch. There'll be obviously more funding then or money generated as well. It just seems like there's a huge opportunity there almost.
Yeah, 100%. Like this year for trials in May, I actually came back and I got sick like 2 or 3 days before the competition, so it didn't really go as planned for me, but it was okay because I got the time zone that I needed for Europeans this year anyway, so it wasn't anything too bad. But we're lucky for LA in a sense that qualification for swimmers opens in World Championships in 2027. So like you were saying about the qualifications, if you get like 3 chances to qualify, I think we get 2 chances. So you can do it at Worlds in 2027 or you can do it at Irish Open in 2028. So you get 2 chances to try and hit the time if you can to qualify for the Olympics. That's the way it works for swimming.
Right, yeah. No, it really is a show up on the day and perform, isn't it? It's just like, it's just so close between for what you have to do just to be able to make it or not make it. It really is kind of, it's all ruthless almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's good in a sense though as well that it sets you up for if you're going to a big championship like Europeans, Worlds or the Olympics, because it's the same over there. You have to do it on the day and you have to be ready. So it's just the preparation, the days coming up, making sure you take your vitamin C, don't get sick, keep out of contact with people, wash your hands, make sure you're doing your training right, sleeping right. Just everything you can do to prepare for the best performance you can on that day. So in a sense, those qualification things, you have to be at your peak on those days. Is kind of a good setting to set you up for competitions like that.
Yeah, it's a similar scenario you're going to be in. And is that the dream then, or I suppose the aim for you, Evan, to, I suppose, replicate the uncle from '96 and go to LA and compete in the Olympics?
Hopefully, yeah, it's definitely a goal of mine that I'd like to go to LA. Um, I'd like to get to LA, and I don't want that to be the final goal. I'd like to hopefully be able to perform well out there after, if I was to qualify, because I think a lot of the time people view it as just qualifying as the Olympics is the big thing, whereas people then they don't really worry about or not worry, but like they don't really focus as much on their performance once they get there. So I think that my main goal wouldn't be to qualify, but it would be if I could get out there and do something, put in some good swims out there, as opposed to just getting on the team and qualifying.
Absolutely, because when you want to get there, you've worked so hard. You've obviously achieved so much at a standard that you want to kind of almost show it on the big stage. You know what I mean? You can't kind of, I suppose, rest on your laurels. But I would say there definitely is probably an Olympics pressure too, because it's just such a big event. It's so well televised. I was speaking to people before about even being in the village for the Paris Olympics. And it's just the overall kind of atmosphere there is just it's just so big. I suppose you could definitely get into the bubble of it, and you know what I mean. There could be added pressure, with it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, like it sounds like an incredible experience to go out there and live in the village and things like that. But I think if I was to look back on it in 20 years, and then if I was to get there and qualify and then kind of switch off and not focus as much on the racing, I mean, I'd have good crack, like I'd be out in the Olympic Village, like who wouldn't enjoy that? But I think if I was to look back on it in 20 years and be like, oh, why did I switch off training? And should have just, if I was there, I might as well give it 100%. So might as well give it a good shot once I get if I get the chance to be there. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it was great, even the last Olympics. I know Daniel Whiffen did really well, and it was just great to see, every time I feel, because we're just such a small country, I feel every time I see the Irish do well at the Olympics, it's so good, and it just shows that we kind of compete with the rest. So it's always a very, I think, moment when we do so well. So obviously that will be, brilliant for you to go, not just to get there, obviously is great, as you say, but you're obviously extremely motivated. When you get there, you're going to do your best and hopefully get what you want as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge credit to the likes of Daniel, Mona and Ellen, because I know when I was younger growing up, I'd always be at even Leinster championships or Irish championships and watching them race and getting to see them do incredible things when I was younger. And they were, well, when you spoke of role models, I'd say that watching them when I was younger probably would be like role models in a sense. And watching them swim and learn off them racing and just watching them do whatever the race is. I remember when I was younger watching Ellen do a 4 a.m. I was probably about 11 or 12 years old. I don't know what age she would have been then. But I remember watching her do a 4 a.m. It's one thing that kind of sticks in my head. And she went 15 metres off the last wall underwater on the last length of the freestyle. And that kind of stuck with me. I was like, Jesus, that's incredible. Like I wouldn't mind being able to get in and shock people as well myself if I was to be able to do something like that. So just kind of inspirations like that, and then as you get older, kind of getting to know them and realize that they're just normal people, and you start to realize, oh, they're just quite normal people. Like I could probably do, or not probably, but hopefully if I put in enough work, I could, I don't know, like be quite good as well or do successful. So I think that they've done a very good job in inspiring younger swimmers, and when they see Irish swimmers able to be successful on international stages, it kind of pushes on everyone else to think, oh, maybe I can do this as well. I think that's kind of happening with Irish swimming at the minute. A lot of younger swimmers are coming through and seeing that Ireland can have really good success at international competitions, and everyone else thinking, oh, yeah, I can do that too, so might as well give it a good shot.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and I feel it's such an easy thing as well, because obviously swimming is so accessible for people too, to get people involved in it. There's in nearly every town, or majority of big towns anyway, you're going to have a swimming pool, and it's very accessible to kind of go and do it. There's not a huge cost associated with it, you know what I mean, to just get in the pool and swim. So, while other sports, there could be lots of gear. Running at the moment, if you don't have the most expensive runners, you probably can't do it, you know what I mean? But swimming is a very much get in the pool, you can practice, which is great. So it's unbelievable that, as you say, there's new swimmers being inspired, but obviously you want to keep that trajectory, going up as well, that, to keep on coming. But I'm sure, as you say, with RT and the European Championships and maybe World Championships being televised, that's just going to happen more and more, which would be, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite a hard sport to advertise to children for it to be a fun sport when they hear you're training 9 times a week in the
Yeah.
pool, 3 times a week in the gym. And usually I know that people sometimes go into schools and try and advertise the clubs to them to get them to join. And when they hear the training schedule, they're like, no, why would I ever go near that? Like, why do I want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning? So I think that's kind of what turns a lot of kids off, and a lot of parents also, they wouldn't want to wake up that early in the morning to bring their kids to training, which I was very lucky that I had parents that would wake up to bring me to the pool. But I also think in the end, you just gain so many good connections and get so many good memories from the sport itself that it's 100% worth waking up that early and putting in all the hours of training. Because I mean, the connections and friends you gain through swimming throughout your whole life, and even getting to travel the world through the sport, it's just like so beneficial for the rest of your life, especially the work ethic and the lessons you learn from the sport. To bring that into jobs in the future, I think it's probably the best sport you can do for your own life development and learning skills through it.
Yeah, and would that be your main message then to young swimmers, Evan, that, you'll gain a work ethic, you'll make, great connections and friends? Would you have any other tips, I suppose, or as someone now who loves swimming, reasons to get involved? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you're younger, you definitely just need to enjoy it and not having to worry about all the early sessions and getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. As you're starting, you wouldn't be doing that many hours, but it's just like the amount of hours you put in, you're definitely going to get back out just off the lessons you learn, the people you meet, and you're going to have lifelong friends from doing it. So I think it's 100% worth doing for any child, even just not even swimming, just any sport. But I think swimming in particular just does give you those life lessons from. You also have to learn a bit of hardship in the sport as well and things like that, but that comes with all sports. So I just do think it is very beneficial to any child or anyone growing up to get in the pool and do a bit of training sessions. So it is
Yeah.
it is good.
Unbelievable. And I'd even say from a fitness point of view, find me someone that swims daily but isn't fit. You know what I mean? It would definitely build up your aerobic capacity or your fitness level, because, naturally you see a swimmer, you automatically think they're going to be just a really fit person, whether it be male or female, just because I suppose it just takes so much energy to do it, that if you're doing it each day, obviously you're going to just build it up so much.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like it's good for when you're a child as well to be getting out and doing those activities, because then when you look back when you're an adult and you had good times in the sport, you're gonna kind of link those moments in your head with exercise. So the way psychologically, I guess, if you want to feel happier about yourself and you want to feel good for the rest of the day, you're going to exercise in the morning, because that just is linked back to when you were a child and when you were happy as a child. So I think that it passes through to a lot of swimmers as they get older, and they kind of keep a keen interest in fitness and keeping themselves healthy as they get older and exercising throughout work and stuff like that. So it's great for it.
Yeah, unbelievable. And just moving forward for, I suppose, what's next for you, Evan? You said the European Championships there. Have you an aim? And is it like you're looking for a certain time, or what's the aim at the moment for the European Championships coming up?
Yeah, I definitely have goals for the championships. I kind of keep them to myself. I just write them down in the book. I don't really ever tell them to anyone. But yeah, I think that writing down your goals and just writing down small little few key steps to get towards them, and just not looking at the bigger picture of the end goal, but just writing down little steps that you can do every day to improve on getting closer to those, which is what I've done for Europeans. And I'm just going to try to go out there and work on everything over these next few days that I can to be at my best when it comes to that championship. So yeah, I don't have any times in my head at the minute or anything, just see how fast I can perform once I get out there.
Yeah, unreal. And would you be very reflective in that point then, Evan? Let's say you get a time, whether you achieve it or not. Would you like do a little bit of note taking about what's next for you or what you could have done better or stuff? Would you kind of work like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I really did it a whole lot until the last 2 years. I started kind of doing a lot of writing. Obviously, the type of writing I do sometimes is just scribbles all over the page and just points all over, like no one's going to be looking at it other than myself. So just like kind of writing down my thoughts on a piece of paper and stuff like that. If I'm ever annoyed about something that's going on, I'll write it down. And then once I write it down, I can read through it and kind of break it down myself and understand why I'm thinking those things or what I can do myself to stop thinking like that. And I just think that writing down stuff for yourself to help yourself pretty much is hugely beneficial, to just be able to sit down and work it out on your own. It's once again like a great life skill to be able to learn to do it. And also just like reading, I've gotten a lot into reading the last couple of months as well, just those kind of psychology books in a sense, and I do think they're very interesting. Some of the opinions do cross over a lot sometimes, but they are very beneficial for athletes to learn how to focus on yourself, and if something doesn't go right, you can adapt it yourself and just be able to write it down and reassess it all.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think I've seen a change with this, and I think athletes have really, well, I would actually say male athletes have made this, much more popular, because I remember when I was going to school, if you had a notebook where you kind of write down your thoughts or how you were doing, you were nearly outcasted as maybe a loser or you were weird or something. And now it's just such a popular thing for athletes and for people to write down their goals, check it off, write down how they did and stuff like that. It's nearly like in thing. It's like you should be doing it now almost, where I remember years ago it was just, you're outcasted almost as a weirdo, let's say, would have been the term used, during that time.
No, yeah, no, it's definitely did used to be like that. Probably, but I don't. Well, no, it's some of the stuff I write down can be a bit like, I don't know, it's just to myself, but it's just in a thrown all over the place fashion. But I do think that if you have something on your mind, the best thing to do is just sit down and write it out, and don't really even think about what you're writing. I know there's been a few days where I've had silly stuff in my mind, and I've had to go sit down and write it down, and I could be there for 2 A4 pages of just writing down stupid stuff, and then I'll go back through and read the whole thing, and I'm like, geez, this is a load of just why. Like, it just breaks it down and makes it really simple for you. Like, why am I even stressing over this, or why am I pissed off over this? So it just makes it a lot more simple, and you can understand how to move on from it and just see how small of a thing that it is that you can't control. So if you just sit down and you have a worry, just write out and don't think about what you're writing. It makes it so much easier.
100%, and I actually think that's actually a great message to not alone adults. I think it's for young kids as well, any athletes, any sport. It's actually a great message to send them as well. Evan, thanks very much for coming on to the podcast. It's been great to hear about Texas, UL, and how you got into swimming and everything like that. It's been great to have another swimmer on the podcast, because as we spoke about, I feel it's underappreciated at times, I would say, and I'm hoping we'll get more young swimmers involved and it'll be more televised and become more and more popular as well. And I wish you the best of luck in the European Championships.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed my time on this podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Emerald Athlete podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to leave a review, and don't forget to check out our Instagram page, the Emerald Athlete Podcast.